Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to another Thunder Road Vendetta. Not unboxing, not necessarily. It is an upgrade or component video. So if you've seen me do other videos, like this, if you watch my channel, I really like getting component upgrades, whether it's miniatures or extra like little terrain pieces, just replace tokens. And I found this great set on Etsy, and I really wanted to show it off because it's really cool. There's a lot of content. Now, I bought the all-in pack. The creator here, which we'll look at, is right here, Adrena Creative. So if you want to check them out, I don't know if they have their another link on. They have a QR code if that helps. We can definitely check them out. I am in no, just a heads up, I am in no affiliation with them. I don't have anything to do with this. They're not promoting me. I just saw their cool stuff, bought it, would like to show it off. I don't know if they're going to keep making these or if they're only have some. They look like they're running low on supplies when I ordered mine, but maybe they might be willing to make more if someone's interested. So, you know, if you don't see it on their site, maybe definitely hit them up. With that being said, guys, I bought a full all-in pack of everything. The only thing I didn't get was the storage box, which I have now ordered. So when I get that, I will do a second video follow up with this, showing that off. And I'll link that in the description of this video too, so that way you can check that out right away. But yeah, there's a bunch of cool stuff. They have it. They have them separated out into little smaller packs. You can buy this and that. Some is just terrain. Some is replacement for other types of terrain. Some like just rocks. Some like the junk terrain. There's some tiles. There's some things that replace other 3D little elements that would be on the board just to help make the game stand out a little bit more. There's also some new content as well, which is really cool. So we'll go over all of that. It's going to be a little bit long video. But let's just get the big box out of the way for the moment. And then let's take a look. So I'm going to look at the tiles first. I'll just kind of show these off. So this is what your board might look like. Obviously, this guy probably didn't get there. This might be what the board looks like with the terrain ahead of time. So what happened here was we have a bag of these. You can buy them. I believe there is 30 in a pack, which should cover most of the tiles, at least enough you need for one game. It might not cover, it won't cover replace every single tile through all the expansions. And this only covers up through the first Kickstarter, the first bunch of stuff. It's not going to cover the new Tina's Party set that's coming out. Yeah, so you just bigger tokens. Now, are there any differences on them? They are the same size, basically that way. Thickness-wise, they are a little bit thicker because the white line will stand up. Does it make them easier to grab? A little bit. Not necessarily. But they will help from getting wear and tear because they're plastic. So that way you might not have to worry about like, oh, this edge got done so I can see what that is. The other thing was there was some stuff that came discolored from one print to the other. So at least if you get all these, they're all printed on the same exact color. So you don't have a worry there. Now, I know this one is printed different, but this is also because this is the Chop Shop one. It has a little symbol because it's not necessarily meant to get mixed in with the rest. The idea is then you have the ability to get a card that lets you play mines, and this is to separate those. But if you're going to bother to have a tile on there that's going to have this on the back side, you know, that way you may as well have it mixed in there. So the idea of getting these is you have two different options. Recommended by the Etsy creator is either one, you could just place these on top of them, and then that way, like, so like, oh, my guy triggered, you know, this guy triggered this, then you can just take it, flip it over, okay, that became a mud pit. That's definitely one way to do it if you just want to do that, and then you just set this off to the side. The alternate way to do it would be to put all of these into this baggie that you can get, that came with it, or you can buy your own. And you just put them in there, and you reach in, and you grab whatever the tile out was, and then it might be like, oh, look, I grabbed a mud tile. And then you just have these guys on the board by themselves. And you just drop all your tiles that you want to use into a bag. There's some you don't want to use, take them out. So yeah, there's definitely those two different options to do it. I do want to show off a third option. This is what I am doing personally. This is my stuff, so this does not come in this. I have printed off stickers to put on the bottom of each one of them. So that way, when I'm playing, if I have these out, and then they run over this, I can flip it over, I can see it's a mud tile. I can see it's a jump. Or I can see it's oil slick or a mud tile. And I'm doing that for myself just because I don't want to have to play around with multiple tiles necessarily, but there's a caveat to that. Because a lot of the, some of these things I have now new 3D terrain for, or components, so I will actually, for example, the jump is going to be one of them. So if I got the jump tile out, I can now flip it out to my new jump one, which we'll look at these in just a minute. And the same thing for some of the other ones, like the mines and the junk piles and stuff. There's various ones that I actually now have 3D terrain, so I will just swap them out as they come along. And the same idea is I will do the same thing, like I'll probably keep the... I don't know where I put the giant stack of tiles at. Yeah, because we have, like, the Sandworm and from some of the expansions, the mud tiles. I think I just dumped all those in there. But what I'll probably do is for, like, the road tiles is, like, if I flip over one of these plastic ones, right, and it's the, like, regular road, or if it's the ice or the glass tile, I'll probably just swap it out for one of the stacks of road or glass tiles. Just because that seems easier to do, and I can pull this off the board. But I'm already going to have a stack of other stuff. But yeah, so that's definitely, these are just kind of, are they necessary for gameplay? Absolutely not. But they're kind of nice because they're a little bit more durable. If you have any that are slightly discoloration from each other, even like these two, you can see there is a different colorization. These are probably might be one from a regular, one from the expansion, or just who knows. It can just help make sure you can tell them apart a little bit neater. Plus, they just look pretty cool. Nothing wrong with that either. And again, I'm doing the stickers on the bottom as my own personal thing. So that's, again, not something that's included in with the Etsy. Alright, so that was the basic thing. And then I'm going to just drop all my tiles back in the bag here quick, just so they're out of the way. So that's one you can get. And I said, I think they come in a pack of 30, which would cover as many as you would need for a game. Because now we have like some of the chop shop ones where you have like the mines or the extra oil slicks. Yeah, it says you place a mine. So the idea is you just then place it face up somewhere on the board probably. And someone might run into it. But yeah, this is kind of neat because you can just mix and match. You don't have to worry about that. So those are those. Those are really cool there. Next thing I want to look at is some of the terrain pieces. So we look at our board right now. I'm not on my tiles out, but everything looks, you can kind of see where stuff is. Nothing's really too much in the way. But we have all these junk spots on here. So one of the things you can pick up are these junk tiles. So they'll have like the yellow borders around them. They're showing their impassable terrain. So it's neat is because they have a bunch of these. They have some single ones. They have some double ones. Some different styles. Even something like that. So now this is really cool because now when you're playing, you can set these up at the beginning of the game. Now you can literally see where your cars, where you cannot drive. And I think that makes it really fun because obviously the roads are going to do stuff, the ice and mud and the desert spots, all those will have different effects. But here it's really like you can't drive. You can't drive on this particular spot, and it really kind of just shows that. So if like your character's going through and they're getting to this spot, they know they're gonna have to move because something's in the way. And there's a lot of different ones they have in here. So let's take a little look at them. So we have like there's a crash car with some junk parts. Here's a rock with a little shanty on top. There's another neat thing I'll show off in that in just a sector. So there's another little house. Yeah, they could just easily have made, like 5 piles of terrain, right? Like just a junk heap like that first one I showed you. And that would have been it. And that would have been more than fine. So here we have Thunder Road trucks. I like that this one almost kind of looks like a jump as well. Then we have this big stack of pillars. So some of these are loose like this, and there is a reason for that, actually. We'll look at that in a sec. But let's, look at a little shed. There's a bunch of different ones, so that way, obviously, when you have multiple tiles in a row that are done, you can see them ahead of time. Now, am I going to guarantee there's enough for every single scenario? Nope. So we have another set of trucks. This one's just kind of reversed from the other one. Like a oil canister broken down. Boiler. We have another big one, which is a bunker. It's pretty cool. We just have, and then we have a water tower, which would be the last one. So those are definitely neat. So if I grabbed another tile that had a bunch of junk stuff on it, yeah, like this. If we run our 2 tiles together, and we put stuff on each one of the junk spots, am I going to have enough? That is the question. So it looks like I am, for doing these 2 tiles right in a row, I am 1 short. But that's easy enough to be. So yeah, if we look at this, so here we got a glimpse of a future one. Yeah, so if we have 2 tiles in a row, I don't think you're ever gonna have more than 3 tiles maybe at a time. I think you just generally have like 2. But yeah, so we have all these terrains covered, and then we ended up with one at the very end down here by this green one. It is not covered, but that's easy enough to just be like, after you get past like this halfway point, you just take this last one, you just move it up there if you need to. Now here's the thing, with any of this type of stuff, it's more, it definitely makes the game look more interactive, more interesting like that. But there's also that whole thing of, when you do this, it also means you're going to have more maneuvering around. So instead of just picking up the next board, getting rid of one, putting the new one down, now you're going to have to stop, slide terrain off, move it back over. So there's always that as just a reminder that does happen with this. So it's up to you on whether you want to deal with all that extra stuff. Yeah, so one other thing we were looking at is I'm going to scooch this back over here, is we were looking at some of these. I said the tops came off. So here is our water tower, and that piece popped off. Try to see if I can get this angle a little bit better. And like this rock piece pops off, or this piece pops off, and this is the other one that has a piece that pops off. So there are 4 of them that do that. And then what we got were these like bridges, which will have the little spots underneath. So what you could do is, see if I can just do this very easily. They slide in there pretty nicely. I just couldn't see where the hole was from where I was standing. So this should line up. So this is kind of neat too. Like, this is 100% extra thing. And then you can put that back on there. Or you can even swap that out and you could put this on there, and it's such a little odd. But that's neat that you can swap these up a bit for like a thing. So, hey, we got like a thing we have to drive under. Just again, add some of the aesthetic. And then there's a second one that's a little bit shorter, in case you have one that only goes 2 tiles across. So if you have a little bit shorter area, you could combine these two together. To cover a single passageway. So it's just the two of them, but that's still definitely cool. Yeah, it's like, it's just like a little spot where you have like people would be standing up, like maybe cheering on the racers. And there's another platform there. So yeah, that's pretty cool to have those two extra little things. The only thing that's only gonna get cool with this is if I get a chance to get around to painting all this stuff. Because that would definitely be even cooler to have all that. So that's kind of like our junk terrain. So the next thing we want to show off, is the rock terrain. So I'm going to pause for a sec to move this stuff out of the way. Alright, so here again we have all of our cars sitting on here. You can see where you're going. Well, we got some hazard spots. We could throw down those. And then you have your different terrain there. And you can say, oh, I can't drive through the rocks. But what's really cool is we start adding some of these actual rock terrain in here. And we have a bunch of different styles. And again, this is one thing I love because this creator could have just made, you have some big giant ones here. They could have just made like one design and like, okay, here's 3 copies of this. Here's 3 copies of that. So we have that. And then some of these we have like where I don't have any more 3s. You can switch them around, switch some around. But yeah, they could just make the same. Oh, here's a 3-spot one. Here's two of that. Here's a double one. Here's 2 of that. And they made them each a little bit differently, which I think is really cool. So there is 1 extra single rock, for this. So again, this might be a thing of where like, yes, you might not, with 1 set, you might not have 100% enough to cover if you do like 3 or 4 different boards that run in. You might just end up having to be like, as these move up, you might have to just scoot them with, unfortunately. Although it is very, for someone like me, because as crazy as I am, I'm almost like, now I almost want to buy a second set so I have enough for everything. But, you know, I'll hold off on that for the moment. But yeah, this is definitely cool because it gives you some different variety. We have, like, there's some with, like, a little tire on it. Even some of the details on there. There's, like, you know, little boards or whatever on there. There's a cactus, a little drum barrel. Now, these are a little bit rough in texture-wise, but that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. We got some big flats, a little cactus again, some oil bowls. You reuse lots of the same assets, but that's 100% fine. You're not expecting them to do everything to be 1,000% different. But again, like I said, they could have just made 1 template. Like here's, you know, so even if you look at these two, it's not quite opposite. I mean, they both have cactuses. They both have that. They probably just, you know, created, like, some little thing added, like, 1 each. But, yeah, they're different enough that they definitely look cool. So, like, here's the bigger rock. Yeah. It would have been easy to do, like, I made 1 design for a triple. I made 1 for a double. I made 1 for a single. They could have been one even less than that and just done, like, we made this rock, right? And then they could have just been like, for a double, they could have just doubled that up twice. And then for a triple, just tripled it up twice. Even then, I would have been like, oh, this is still cool. Like, it looks kind of odd, but at least now I can physically see where all my big stuff is. But then we have another thing that came as part of that package, which is really cool. And I think this is one of the more impressive ones. Is if we slide this up, we have the choke. So here it's just the road in the middle, but we get these. So now this definitely makes you feel like, oh, I can't drive on the outside. And that's what I love about this. It's just, and that's one thing for me playing lots of games with miniatures. I love having these extra terrain pieces instead of just spaces on board or just tiles, because it's a good visual reminder of stuff. I play games like with miniatures. You have to move around the board. Like a good example for me is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles game, where there's a pillar and it's just a black square that you put on the tile that you put on the board, and your character can't attack around it or move through it. And I don't know how many times I just didn't register that there was something there. And the person when I was playing with my wife, she kept saying, "Oh, there's a pillar there. You can't attack through that, or you can't." I'm like, "Oh, that's right," because it was just a black square that's on the board. And something like this is like, yeah, I can tell there's a big giant rock on there. I can see that it has the yellow line borders, but this makes it just so much visually quicker. Just to be like, boom, I know I can't do that. Same thing with having the other terrain, having some of it. Not to be said, am I going to say that we should make little tiles for the mud, little tiles for the grass, or the glass, or this or that? Not necessarily. I think some of that might be a little overkill, and that's where you have to find that happy balance between the good and the bad stuff. What's good and what ends up being bad for things. Alright, so then the next thing I want to look at is we actually have a set of 3D finish lines. So these are really cool too. So we're going to get a little tunnel, there's a ramp, and what these do is they just slot then right into the side of the board. And then we have this one, which has like a couple of drive spots, some ramps, and that one will slide on this side. And now, could you do it the other way? Definitely, there's nothing wrong with that. Then we get a wasteland sign, which actually comes in 2 pieces, but you can probably glue these together. And then this sets on there. I'm going to turn this so we can actually see what it looks like if you're looking at it. So this is kind of neat, because it adds just an additional little, like, element to the game. It's just a finish line, so instead of having, like, just a check mark line or whatever. You get a thing so you can see your cars. Oh, I can zoom through that one, or they can ramp off of these two. That's technically on this one, they run into a rock if they're on the way outside. But yeah, it just adds that extra little element to the game. Is it going to do anything? No. Are these jumps going to do anything during the game? No, not necessarily. But it's definitely a neat little thing. I do have one other component. I have this little for sign, which I don't know where this goes, to be 100% honest. I did not see what this connected to. It's probably to one of the buildings, and I'm just missing it, but we did have that, just to point out. Now, the other thing someone might ask is, could you use this in the game as, like, an extra thing? I'm going to pull the wasteland sign off just so I don't accidentally break something. Which, yeah, unfortunately, while I was pulling this out, this piece here was actually snapped off. But I just glued it back on really quick. Not a big deal. Yeah, could you use these during the game? They do line up the tiles. So, I mean, it's possible to do something very similar to that if you want to have just a customized thing. Like, oh, here, we put this on the board here, and now this one, there's a block. Obviously, I'm ignoring the actual terrain on the board. But this would add, like, a built-in jump. Built-in jumps over there. Yeah, just kind of interesting little things. But it also could be, like, the thing is if, like, your guys in here, in one of these spots, they can't switch over to that because there's a railing in the way. So that's also a neat little thing. Same thing if your guy's going through the tunnel. All of a sudden now they can't go left or right. They have to go straight one extra spot. So it'd be a neat little extra thing you could just add into the game. Alright, so the last thing we have that is, one of the last things we have that's a main component that we get is a replacement tile, our jumps. So we have some jump tiles. Now these upgrades here are for your actual upgrade tokens. So if we drew our hazard tile, and it had a jump on the bottom, such as this. So we flipped over our hazard tile, it had a jump. You then replace it with a jump. And it's just the idea of it being, your car's going through. Ooh, you can see a cool physical jump. As opposed to seeing, yeah, so we put a bunch of jumps on here. So if we got in this area that was just all jumps inside the choke point, which would be pretty nuts. But yeah, no, that's definitely cool that we get all of those as extra things. Now there's 6 of them, so there's enough to match each tile in the game. But yeah, they just add that extra little physical like element. I just want to throw the choke back up on here really quick. So yeah, we have a bunch of jumps inside the choke. That's just kind of what that would look like. Again, it just adds that extra little element. And that's all this terrain stuff is. It's just to make the game look prettier while you're playing it. One second. I'm just trying to pick up all the tiles I dumped out. So we do have some other tiles that are replaced as well. So I'm going to swap some of those out. Now, I do want to definitely try and maybe paint some of these. Now, it's cool they got the little yellow on there. I know there's a variant where you can get some stuff with grays. Like maybe the arrows or whatever, but I could paint them like a bright orange or something like that. I also want to show off the choke point, as they do come in 2 sections. It says 1 of 2 and 2 of 2. Just to put them together. There's no reason why you can't combine the other 2 and make different shapes like that as well. Now, they're not going to maybe necessarily line up on these parts in the middle, but it does obviously give you an extra different set in case you want to play around and have more of like an L shape. Again, if you're just ever playing around with your own terrain, it's definitely something you could do. We'll leave that one there for the moment. But what other tiles do we have? We have oil slick tiles. So let's replace one of these jumps, and we revealed an oil slick. It made these really slick oil slick tiles. It shows a little oil barrel with an oil slick on there. So we can replace this on the board. And then get a little extra 3D oil slick tile on there. Again, there's enough of those to cover each of the tiles. The other one we have are mines. We might end up revealing a mine tile, or you might drop one with that Chop Shop card. So they make little mines you can throw on the board. And yeah, it's really neat. Because yeah, rather than having this, you know, not to be a meme, ugly looking tile just sitting on the board, which kind of then pulls away from the terrain. Now we can have a little physical piece on there so we can see right where a mine's at. So it's definitely cool there as well. We also have the wrecks, and the same thing. If you get a wreck on there, nobody wants to see that. So if this car all of a sudden revealed to be a wreck instead of a jump, we have wreck tiles, which are really cool. And again, these are really neat because they have 4 different ones. They have kind of like a Goon Buggy-esque car. We have a bigger tanky type car. Kind of looks like the DeLorean, to be honest. It's maybe what he was going for. We have one with a gun on top. And then the other one's more of an armored vehicle. So that's cool. We got 4 of them to match the 4 wrecked tiles. But yeah, you can put them on there on the board as well. Kind of just, you know, adds to that thing of like, hey, now like the train, the impassable train, I know that there's a piece here I can't hit. So now you might want to be like, oh crap, I hit this thing. I have a jump. I can try and jump over this, or I have to go all the way around the wreck like that, or try and swinging like this. We also have to watch out for the oil tile, watch out for the mine. Very interesting. So this next one is crazy. So this is our regular one. We also have a sandworm. Which again, you put that in there. Oh no, we have to work the sandworm. So this one's a little bit different because it's going to change the rules a bit. There's our sandworm. So I'm going to move that out of the way. I'm going to pull the rest of these tiles and stuff off. But yeah, so we did a big giant sandworm that's going to be on the table, which is going to like kind of mess with everything. But it's also bigger than 1 tile. It is almost 3 tiles. It's 2 and a little over a tile each direction. But yeah, this is definitely cool. Definitely, if you ever watched Tremors, it definitely gives that Tremor vibe. There's actually some stuff inside like a vehicle inside. It's hard. My light doesn't really want to show that off very well. You can kind of see it there. So it's really, yeah, really detailed all the way to the inside even. Now, so there is a couple of things, you know, that before I jump into the rules on this, the other thing we also had were some goo tiles. So something I ever dropped some goo on. These were just very simple goo tiles you can throw on the board in place. I guess my thoughts, in case if you want to place more of that radioactive goo from some of the other tiles elsewhere on the board, you can do that. So they do have some Thunder Road Vendetta unofficial gameplay rules. So there's some new stuff in here. But we do want to look at some of the ones that we've actually looked at. So we have, for the Chop Shop expansion, oil spill hazard. Use with the oil dispenser. Place 3 oil spills on the card at the start of the game. Oil spills may also be used to replace the hazards when revealed. So, like, we did have, and the same thing's going to be the next one with the mines. We have these 2 cards from Chop Shop. So if you get these, you can go ahead and use, instead of using the tiles, you can use the physical pieces instead. Just kind of neat. So I have enough to cover those and cover the regular ones. And then I also have an alternate for mine. If the mine dispenser card is not in play, or if you don't have Chop Shop, when a mine hazard is revealed, that player picks up the mine, dispenses it on a later turn. I'm going to look at EMP in a minute here. We also have Carnage at double run. So pit hazards, when revealed, place the pit hazard tile with any pit, trap, fallen thing. So I did say these are, sorry, I was incorrect. I said these were wrecks. These are actually the pit hazards. That's why they're a black spot in there. They're not the wrecks. These are, the wrecks are these. My bad. I did say that wrong. But you could always use them as those as well if you want to have something in the way. But yeah, they're for the pitfalls. Which I don't have that tile sitting here at the moment. And then the Sandworm. So when revealed, follow standard rules or Sandworm alternate play. After the Sandworm is revealed and eliminates the last road vehicle, leave the Sandworm on the board for the remainder of the game. Players who use the road guy may also move the Sandworm for the same number of spaces as the road guy. Any road vehicles caught in the Sandworm's path are eliminated. The Sandworm cannot move through impassable terrain, and Sandworm cannot be destroyed. So that's kind of neat, is because they make it so instead of just coming out, pops out, eats someone, and then kind of goes away. This kind of makes it so it stays on the board, and it's going to keep trying to move across the board, following your guys. So I think it makes it really cool if you're going to have a miniature that they added. This person came up with extra rules for that, so I think that's really cool. Alright, so then we did have some alternative stuff in here as well. So they had some more stuff with some custom tiles and some custom gameplay. So the first one we'll look at is the EMP. So we're going to get 2 different EMPs on here, a closed one and an open one. In case you're not familiar with EMP, it's electrical magnetic pulse. Basically what it does is shuts down electronics. So it says apply the EMP stickers. So they did provide in the thing some stickers you can put on the back of your blank tiles. Because the game does come with 2 blank tiles. Or if you bought the upgraded tile token, you can always throw some on the back of them if you're going to do like I'm doing. Which is really cool. But yeah, apply the EMP stickers to 2 mine hazards. It's just replacing 2 of your mines, or attached to the provided 3D tiles. So it does give you some extra tiles in there. For each Chop Shop upgrade cards, when EMP hazard is revealed, place the active open EMP mini on the board. The blast disables all Chop Shop upgrade cards for the remainder of the round. So it's kind of neat. So the idea is that these pop out. So instead of like a mine or something you have to hit, it just shuts down a card that you can use for the game during that round. Alternative play, during set, place 1 or 2 MPs closed on any non-road space on the second or third road tiles. A vehicle may activate open EMP by successfully shooting it in M range or any on the shooting die. The blast disables all Chop Shop upgrades for the remainder of the round. The vehicle that activated EMP is not affected by the blast and may not be activated by choppers or destroyed. So that's kind of neat, is you can set these out somewhere ahead of time, and then as your guys are coming up, you can shoot it, blow it open, and you can always swap it out quick if you want. And it disables them cards per turn. I think that's a really neat mechanic. this person came up with. I don't know if they created it or if they found it somewhere else and they're just borrowing it. But either way, it's still pretty awesome. Because it gives you that thing of like, hey, somebody drew this really cool upgrade card and now they're getting an advantage. There's a way for you to like counter that one card. And we get 4 of them, so you get 2 of each. So either way you want to play is really cool. Then the next upgrades they have are turrets. So apply 2 sticker turrets to the blank production hazard tiles in maximum chrome or provide 3D tiles. So we have the gun turret. When revealed, replace the hazard tile with the gun turret. The vehicle that revealed the hazard tile moves to an adjacent space by rolling the direction. The hazard tile moves in adjacent space by rolling the direction die and resolving the result, including sometimes. The gun turret may immediately shoot all vehicles in turn order within range 2. Any vehicles hit will resolve a damage token like normal. The gun turret becomes an impassable space and immediately shoots any target anchored within 2 radius that cannot be destroyed. So if you come across it, you immediately have to move, and then it's going to shoot anyone that comes within 2 range. This is kind of a neat idea as well, because it's adding additional hazards to the game that aren't just trying not to run into things. Then we have the fire turret. It says when revealed, place a hazard tile at the fire turret mini, and the vehicle revealed to an adjacent space by rolling direction and moving. The flame turret immediately shoots all vehicles in order within 1 range, and the vehicle catches on fire. The fire turret becomes impassable terrain and immediately shoots anyone at 1 radius and cannot be set on fire. This is kind of neat, because the other one does more damage, but the flame one will set you on fire. And then turret alternate play. During the game, remove the turret hazard tiles from play and place both turrets on a non-road space. So they start revealed and active. So that's pretty cool. And again, we're going to get some of the stickers for those. So they did give out 2 extra ones for those. Gun turret and flame turret. But then we actually get the miniatures for them, which is really fun. So, gun turret and flame turret. So they just drop on the board somewhere. What's also really fun is because the way they're designed, they can rotate around. Because these just pop right off. So you actually swap the bases around if you like. This one makes more sense probably for the gun turret, because it has little ammo shells everywhere. I'm assuming that's what those are. But yeah, it's really cool. It's really detailed as well. Plus it has the yellow for the impassable. And there's the flame turret. Again, they just pop right off, so very, very easy to switch around. But yeah, that's a really neat extra little mini expansion they added in. You can pick up from this site as well. Just to have, little extra different thing in there, add something creative. I know the new Tina set has some stuff similar to that, so that's pretty fun as well. Alright, then the last thing we have to show off for this entire video is something completely new that doesn't have any special rules that I saw associated with it. But we have a crashed airplane, impassable terrain. I don't know if there's any terrain spots that are this big at all, but this is definitely a cool idea. Cool, neat little thing. Again, something you could just throw on the board. Like any of this other bigger terrain, you can throw it on there in other spots if you want to customize your board a little bit more. That's what's also neat about having this stuff. You want to add more junk. You want to add built-in ramps. You can do that. That's really cool. And this plane is really neat. It's really detailed. It's like broken, the wings are snapped off. You can see inside the cabin a little bit. What's also supposed to be neat is this is supposed to be a ramp all the way through it. And then, because it goes clear all the way through. And again, like the Sandworm, which, sorry, my camera so my lighting source is so crappy for this. But yeah, there's stuff inside there all the way down. There we go. You can kind of see in there a little bit. But yeah, you could use this as a ramp for your cars. So if like the terrain was right here, and this car's coming through, you could have him zip through here. And obviously I'm not going to stick him all the way in because I don't want him to get lost. But then you could have him come out here, flying off the end of the airplane. But again, there's no rules that came with it associated to how that's supposed to work or what the rules are. Because it would be kind of unfair. I would just use regular jump rules. Ramp rules is what I would use. But that's definitely something you can do as well. Again, it's just a really neat extra piece that you can pick up. Yeah, here's some other different terrain spots. I was trying to see, something you could also even do like with this one, just as a little last minute look at this, is so we have all these different spots here. You're going to grab your various junk terrains, put those out to start with. But if you wanted to, you could also put your ramps in here as well. If you want to have the ramps come. Now, again, there's only enough to cover the tiles in the game, so if you put physical ramps on the board, you're not going to have enough to cover if they're in the hazard spots. But, you know, you can kind of just deal with that as it comes along, pick and choose, or you can pull the ramps out and be like, oh, we're only going to have those ramps. You know, but definitely a neat little idea. Again, for me, someone like me, it might almost make me want to, like, buy an additional set just so that way I have enough. But it is a little bit pricey, so just a heads up on that. It's definitely worth the money, I believe, for how much is spent. I'm not going to say a price on here because I don't want people being held good. They think that's what the price will be on there. But like, here's some of them swamp trains. You can always put these on here if you want, but I like the idea of being able to add additional ones of those on the board somewhere. You want those somewhere else. That's pretty cool. Alright, that's what we have. So again, we will come back and do a second video with the box when we see that. When we see how all this stuff stores in there, because it's supposed to store all of this stuff I have here. So we'll see how that all looks, and then we'll definitely check out when the new Tina set comes out. So again, that was Adrena Creative. So check them out on Etsy. They have a bunch of stuff for other games as well. I'm not going to pull any of them up. I'm just showing the video. But I know that that's stuff for, I think, Terror Escape. Stuff for, I want to say, Clank. A couple other different things. They might be making more stuff. But yeah, check them out. Definitely if you have Thunder Road Vendetta and you want some cool terrain. Like I said, they might not have everything available right now. If you saw something that was interesting in my video, maybe send them a message. Maybe they might be able to make a special order. I don't know how. I don't run Etsy stuff, so I don't know how. I don't have 3D printing, so I don't know how easy or painstaking it is to just make one or two things for people. Some, you know, but it's always something that can't hurt to ask, right? Alright, that is what we have for Thunder Road Vendetta 3D terrain. See you guys later. Bye.